It's another Micro Action Monday on Studio Class. Hi, divas! Oh my goodness, it is time for Micro Action Monday again. It has been more than a minute since we have done this, so I hope you'll stick with me. I'm probably a little bit rusty, but we can get back into it, right? We're in this together. We can do this. So here we are. It's Micro Action Monday. I want to give you just like little tidbits, like little tasty morsels to add to your diva life, right? This is all about micro actions. My whole thing about micro actions is that when we break it down to its smallest component parts, it's a lot easier for us to conceptualize and then also take action on, right? So whenever we're doing a Micro Action Monday episode, I really want you to hear what is that little tiny action from this episode that you can incorporate into your life, right? Into your busy lives. I know that they're busy, right? I know that you're doing a ton of stuff. And this is just that little thing that we can hang on to, hang our hats on, that says, I pushed my career forward today in a really positive way. So for this Micro Action Monday, we're talking about diversifying income streams. And I think that diversifying income streams is so important for financial security, for your own financial independence. That's a big thing for me. That's a big thing that I love to talk about with my coaching clients. Is I just want to make sure that you are moving towards financial freedom with all of the choices that you're making in your creative business. My own personal experience and why I really want to talk about this is that the pandemic, I feel like, just shone a huge spotlight on the importance of diversifying your income. With my life, I've always approached my income streams, my professional life, as a portfolio career. I was aware pretty early on that I wasn't, that the bills that I had in my life, that the financial obligations and responsibilities that I had in my life were not going to be met just by singing alone. And so I realized that I wanted to also pursue my multiple passions, right? I wanted to have an outlet for my administrative skills and for my teaching and coaching life in addition to performing. And that's how it works for me. That may not be what you're doing, and that's fine. I support you. I'm cheering you on in all of the ways. What I want you to think about is, how does diversifying income work for you in your specific life, in your specific business? Like I said, I thought that the pandemic just shone this huge spotlight on the need for diversifying income because it happened so quickly, and I saw that that effing tidal wave of cancellations happen, and so many people in our field realizing how precarious our employment, labor, and financial lives were, right? How precarious we were in approaching this from a business standpoint. And I really hope that we never experience anything like that again in our lifetimes. But I also know that we will navigate our own personal turbulence, that we will navigate our own tidal waves here and there, because it happens. That's how life goes. And if you bump up against something like a terrible loss or chronic health issues or caregiving in the future, those are scenarios in which having diversified income streams can just help take the immense panic and burden down to a manageable level. So those are the reasons I'm thinking about this. This is why this is on my mind. I really want you to mitigate the risks and build up your financial independence. So that's where I'm coming from with this. And I just want to bring that up to you today so that we can be thinking about it before it's an emergency. So when we're thinking about diverse income streams, I want to talk about why it's important, but maybe we don't always know what diversified income streams mean. I want to give you a couple examples, kind of the most popular examples in our ever-changing economy, right? The most the most common examples that I see are like salary earned income, right? That's the primary one for most people that I'm interacting with on a day-to-day basis. Salary, contractor fees, income, your kind of earned income side. There's also your side hustle, which would still be considered earned income, right? And then we start to think about investments, rental property, capital gains, like all of that kind of stuff. And I don't bump into those as much with my, with my day-to-day life, but I definitely am familiar with that, and encourage you to be thinking about that. So let's start with the first step, and then we can always build onto that. I want you to feel like you've got agency in your financial life so that you can make those choices. You're making really supportive and powerful choices for your finances. So as I just said, diversifying income reduces your financial risk, and it also maximizes your earning potential. And I like to think of this as, can you hear Hunter in the background? He's like, I too would like to diversify my income streams. So one of, I think of real life examples when I'm talking to clients, we're thinking about we're often thinking about diversifying our earned income as well as passive income, right? That's kind of where we start. That's our first steps. So we're thinking about, what are my earned income sources? And then also, do I have any passive income sources? And then can I start to turn those things into investments that also pay off on this? So, like I said, I'm working with clients who, when we start thinking about that, we're thinking about moving beyond, well, obviously I want you to start with like your performance life or your composing life. Start there, right? That's an earned income side, or your teaching or whatever. That's your earned income side. I want you to think about, like, am I maximizing my earning potential across this first? Like, do I have space and time for adding another earned income stream that can coexist with my current earned income streams? This might look like, I perform regularly, and then I also like teach on occasion, or I teach master classes. I, incorporate that so that it's, the masterclass side is not as regular, right, as your performing side, or vice versa. But you're incorporating that as an income stream, something that has a shape and a form to it, right? Do you know what masterclasses you teach? Do you know how to reach out to people? Do you know what to tell them that it costs? All of that kind of stuff. So I want you to think about, am I maximizing my earned income sources in my life? Knock, knock, knock. Real quick, divas. I know you're here because you love the clarity that comes from my micro action episodes. Plus, you get inspired and motivated hearing from working artists all across our field on how they made, maintain, and grow their careers. Now, you can be a part of the fuel that makes it all happen. Give Studio Class a boost by heading over to patreon.com/mezzo-Ihnen. That's MEZZOIHNEN, and join the Sybaritic Camerata. I also want to take a moment to shout out and thank Chris, James, Josh, Sarah, Elise, and Renee. Your support means the world to me. Thanks so much for helping me keep this podcast going. Now, let's get back to the show. Then we can also start thinking about passive income. Is there anything that I currently teach? Is there anything that I've already made that I can turn into something that becomes like evergreen, right? Is one of the ways that people talk about this online. But I want you to think about, is there something that I can start to automate or make available in a way that I don't have to manage every single sale that goes through that portal, right? And can I can I start to create something that can make money on its own without being watched every single moment of the day, or being like hustled in that way. Obviously, passive income takes a while to build. I don't want to be misleading about that, right? One of my favorite podcasts back in the day used to be Pat Flynn's, what was that called? It was all about passive income. Check it out if you find Pat Flynn. That's the the podcast. But it was so great to really hear true stories about what people did on the front end to kind of create something that would turn into passive income for them in the future. Okay, which is all to say that I want you to just take a moment and think about, what are your unique skills, talents, and passions. I want you to marry that idea with aligning your current income streams and also future income streams with your personal interests, so that you can feel that increased motivation and fulfillment. You've already heard me talk about a couple of different types of these things, but in case we need to think about it a little bit more, like your active income streams are your like traditional W-2 type jobs, any sort of freelancing that you can do. More passive income streams, investments, royalties. We talk about this. When I talk to composers in coaching sessions, we often think about, am I making money on the front end, in the middle, and on the back end, right, of any project? Have I figured out how to make the most out of that scenario, right? So the front end and the middle can sometimes be a joint part where it's like the commission. Also, you might get some grant funding, right? I want you to be in the process of searching and seeking out funding sources for all of your projects. And then on the back end is, do I make sure that I do fulfill the administrative parts of this so that I can get the performance royalties, right? So that I can get the mechanical license payouts of recordings, those kinds of things. If you have questions about that, you know how to hit me up, right? You know how to get a hold of me. These are the things I love to talk about. So a couple of other things that I want you to think about is, don't forget that you can explore the potential of online income sources, right? What do you have that could turn into e-commerce? What do you use on a daily basis that might have an affiliate marketing option, right? Do you have anything in your wheelhouse that you can turn into digital products? Think through that for just a second. That's actually, honestly, your micro action is, think about the things that you love to teach, the things you love to do, and ask yourself, are there ways that I could turn this both into active and passive income? I don't want you to get stuck with this, thinking about, oh, I have to do, when I mentioned the Pat Flynn stuff and listening to people who did the work ahead of time, I don't want you to get stuck thinking, oh, I have to do tons of work on the front end to have this huge payout on the back end. I want you to think about, what is that 1% change that I can make? Can I turn something that I talk about all the time into a digital product, and maybe I sell it for like $8 on my website, and that over time adds up. So I want you to be thinking about just those little tweaks, right? That's what this micro action stuff is all about, is taking, multiple small streams of income and turning that into significant revenue in your life. And then starting to think about having a plan for, can I turn some of that revenue into investments that will also start to bring in passive income, right? Can I make my money work for me 2 times over? Can I make it work for me, multiple times over? So much of us are in the hustle, and it feels like every day is like, I have to hustle just to get to the point where I'm breaking even on these things. And we can do so much more than that. We are creative. We are imaginative. We can come up with so many beautiful solutions to this issue. You don't have to be stuck in just breaking even. You can think about how to make your money work for you, so that you have more space. Honestly, divas, that's the thing that if you hear nothing else coming through this episode, I really want you to hear that I care about your financial freedom because it allows you to make the choices you want to make, right? I want you to be able to say yes to whatever kinds of things light you up, right? I want you to be engaged in the world that way. And I want you to feel like you have access to the choices you want to make because you're not worried about, financial concerns. That those aspects feel like supportive of the life that you're making. Okay, that's enough. That's a long. You know what? I picked a meaty topic for my first Micro Action Monday, back in the saddle again. But I really care about this stuff, and I want you to feel healthy, wealthy, and wise babies. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love hearing when these episodes help you or make you approach something with a different perspective. You can find me on the socials. I'm at mezzo-Ihnen. And if you liked this episode, screenshot it. Share it to your stories. Tag me. I'm at mezzo-Ihnen, mezzoihnen. And as always, divas, you know how it goes. Stay sparkly inside and out. Thanks for joining me for Micro Action Monday. Again, I'm Megan Ihnen, and you can find me on all the socials at mezzo-Ihnen. That's IHNEN. Did you know that studio class is part of the Sybaritic Singer? It is. And if you liked this episode, you're going to love my 29 Days to Diva series. That's on SybariticSinger.com. And if you liked this episode, will you please consider leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast? Thanks. It means a lot to me.